Hello and welcome to Simon's Floating Head Show. Just joking. Bitcoin price action analysis every day. Right, let's go straight on with it. Don't need to have any more delays for such poor humor. Now, as promised yesterday, this is indeed Friday, and that means that CME will be closing its weekly candle in all but 40 minutes. Wow, I'm up late this evening. And you can see that it's definitely going to close above the midpoint on the Bollinger Band. I'm going to say definitely. That is, unless in the next 40 minutes it manages to wipe off $3,500 off the current price. I think that's unlikely, but nothing's impossible in crypto land, as I'm sure a lot of people know. But I think that's quite a safe bet. So yeah, that looks like it's good for at least more consolidation within the range, but more specifically, potentially a test of the top of the Bollinger Band here, which is coming in somewhere around 70 to 72,000. That's on CME. It's a little bit different for Bybit and the perpetual exchanges. You can also see that the momentum is going to continue to turn up. It's been to the upside the whole time, but it's going to continue to turn up on the weekly time frame as long as CME closes above 62,000 in the next 40 minutes, which, I think is quite likely. I was going to mention something else there. What I'm going to do now is just show you a little bit of an observation. But to do this, I'm going to switch over to Bitstamp, which has obviously got the complete history of Bitcoin. And I'm going to switch off the Bollinger Band and turn on just a little observation that I've fiddled around with over the last, a long time now, probably a year or so. I quite like Gann high-low. I think it's a useful indicator. It basically goes along the premise. One of WD Gann's premises, basically about trend, and it puts it into a nice, basically moving average formation. And you can see here, you can change the settings to whatever you want. Now, I think it comes default at something like 13 and 21. There's a high and a low setting. Well, to be honest, when indicators come with settings that don't seem to make sense, I just change them. So because this is a weekly time frame, I've just changed it to 52. So I've changed the length of the Gann high-low setting to 52, right? Because 52 weeks in a year. And look what happens when I did that. Well, it pretty much picks out all the bull runs and indeed the bear runs. Not perfectly, it doesn't pick out the absolute tops. It doesn't pick out the absolute bottoms. But what it does is it keeps you the right side of the trade. And most people in Bitcoin are looking to long it or to invest. So it gives you a pretty good marker for when to remain in your investment. That's if you're not just passive investing, buying and holding forever. So I quite like that. And, it's up to you how you do things, but I quite like the way that looks. And I think, if Bitcoin does march up to 74 and then go on to make a new all-time high, it would be interesting to see at what point that it crosses back below this 52-week Gann high-low, because I would probably suggest that's at the end of the bull run this time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think that's probably a fair way away. You can also see that the price came right down towards it and then bounced. So, yeah, just an interesting observation, one that you may not have seen on other channels, or you may have, depends on the channels. I haven't seen that before. Anyway, I'm going to switch to the lower time frames, and to do that, go back over to Bybit, leave on the Bollinger Band with its conventional settings of 20, and you can see that the on the daily time frame, volatility hasn't expanded anymore yet. You can see it's still turning in, and it hasn't turned back up. So it's certainly trending to the upside and will indeed do that, as long as I would suggest Bitcoin is above about 62,000. That's support resistance, and that will likely become you'll likely see the 20 SMA come up towards that, probably with this next closure, and on the daily time frame that's coming in 3.5 hours time. From a momentum point of view, it's 64,000. I'm rounding up. For momentum to continue to the upside on the MACD here, and again, that's got another 3.5 hours to go, and it's got a fair buffer with the price to keep the MACD pointing to the upside. Let's now switch down to the 4-hour, and yep, still continuing higher highs and higher lows, and indeed since yesterday I would say that it's now cleared this high, which was the kind of local high really. You can see it nicely here on the daily, and it looks like today's going to close above even the wicks, but certainly the closures from that local high, which then gives us the etchings of a new higher high alongside a higher low. So that is certainly a daily uptrend, and indeed a 4-hour. I mean, the 4-hour has been trending to the upside for quite some time, but it's now looking even more secure. The volatility is indeed expanding on the 4-hour. As of yesterday, it wasn't really, it was just starting to when I recorded yesterday's video, and it certainly has expanded since then. And momentum will continue to the upside on the 4-hour as long as Bitcoin closes 4 hours above 65, call it 5, rounding that down a little bit. And you can see it's close to not achieving that. But from the point of view of more, or continuing the trend to the upside, even on the low time frames being 4-hour, 64.5 is your point at which that would be consolidation rather than trending. So yeah, all looks good so far. Obvious support area now coming in at 62.5 on a 4-hour, and I would say 62,000 on the daily. All right, there you go. That's the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and share. Follow me on Twitter, Simon F. Martin, and join me tomorrow for Saturday's price action analysis video. Take care. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.